Hello, welcome to this video which is all about revising the skill of subtracting larger numbers using the column method where you will need to do some exchanging. Here is our first problem. There were 15,735 people in the football stadium. At 2 p.m, 2,582 people leave. How many people are left in the stadium? So I've represented that problem using a number sentence, 15,735 take away 2,582. And I'm going to show you how I would go about solving that using the column method. As you can see, I have represented my first number, 15,735, using my place value counters. And I'm going to use these to demonstrate to you how to go about subtracting the two numbers using the column method. As you can see here, I have my tens of thousands, so I have 1 tens of thousands. Here I have my thousands. As you can see, I have 5,000. Here are my hundreds. As you can see, I have 700. Here are my tens. I have 3 tens, which is 30, and here I have my units. I have 5 units. So I'm now going to set out the problem, remembering to line my digits up according to their place value and remembering to put 1 digit in each box. 15,735, subtract. As you can see there, I nearly made a mistake. I've corrected myself. I needed to remember to put the 2,000 in the thousands column and not the tens of thousands. 2,582. Okay, so I'm going to start with the units first, and we always start with the top number, take away the bottom number. Starting with 5 then, I need to take away 2. 1, 2, and I'm left with 3. Now let's look at the tens. Top number, take away bottom number. I currently have 3 tens and I need to take away 8 tens. I can't do that, I only have 3 tens. So I need to now look to the column next door, which are the hundreds, and I need to exchange 100 for 10 tens. So exchange, take 100 from this column and bring it into the tens and exchange that for 10 tens, which is 100. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So I now have 130 in the tens column. If I represent that down on my column subtraction, 3 tens take away 8 tens, I can't do that. So I'm going to exchange 100 from here and bring it now into the tens column. So I now have 13 tens, which is 130. And here you can see my 13 tens. Okay. Now back to the hundreds column. Because I exchanged one of the hundreds for my 10 tens, I now only have 600 left. Back to my tens column, 13 tens, take away 8 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will leave me with 5 tens. Back to my hundreds column, I have 600 and I need to take away 500. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm left with 100. Thousands column now. I have 5,000. Top number take away the bottom number. 5,000 take away 2,000 is 3,000. And lastly, my tens of thousands. I have one of those. Take away nothing. Remember, when you take away nothing, the number remains the same. 1. So the answer is 13,153. Okay, another problem now. This time we're going to pause the video and you can have some time to try to solve it before I go through the answers with you. I'll talk you through the place value chart first. We'll set out the calculation and then you can see if you can try it. So we have 75,450, take away 52,700. Okay, we have 7 tens of thousands. We have 5,000, 400, 5 tens, and no units. Let's set that out first. 75,450, and we're going to take away 52,700. Now we need to remember that we always do the top number take away the bottom number. You can't reverse the digits around in a subtraction. It has to be the top number take away the bottom number. So you will need to think carefully when you get to this part here. I just highlight it down like this, because we have 400 take away 700. You need to think carefully about what you will do at this stage. So pause the video, have some time to think, and then we'll go through the answers together. Okay, so we're just going to remove these circles here so we can see more clearly. Let's start with the units, and we have no units in the units column. 0 take away 0 remains 0. Let's look at the tens column. 5 tens take away nothing. Remember, the number remains the same, 5. Okay, now we spoke about the hundreds column earlier. 400 take away 700 we can't do. And we can't swap those numbers around and say 700 take away 400. 400 is the number we started with. So we need to remember to now go to the column next door and exchange one of these thousands for 1000, because 1000 is the same as 1,000. So I'm going to bring the 1,000 over here and exchange it for 1000. 3, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and 1,000. So let's represent that on our calculation at the bottom. We're going to borrow and exchange 1,000 from here, and we're now going to bring it over here. So that will now be 1,400, which you can see here. 1,400 is the same as 1,400. 1,400 take away 700. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We know we'll be left with 700. Now we needed to remember there to write that we were left with 4,000 when we did that exchange. 4,000 take away 2,000. We are left with 2,000. So we needed to remember that this one had gone over here already. And then our tens of thousands, 7 tens of thousands take away 5. we're left with 2. So the answer is 22,750. I hope you got that right. If you didn't, have a look at where you went wrong. Okay, I've given you a problem now for you to try all on your own. In a second, you can stop the video to have a go on your own and we'll go through it together. But first of all, I want to draw your attention to what you will do when you get to this part here. Okay, pause the video and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, let's go through the answers together, starting from the units column. 0 take away 0 is 0. Now, let's look at the tens column. 0 take away 4 we cannot do. We need to do the top number take away bottom number. So we now need to look to the hundreds column and exchange 100 for 10 tens, which we can indicate there, and we will now be left with 800 instead here. Okay, 10 tens take away 4 tens is 6 tens. 800 take away 800 is nothing. 7,000 take away nothing remains 7, and 1 take away 1, there's nothing there. So the answer is 7,060. Here's another problem for you to try on your own. In a minute, you can pause the video and have a go on your own, and then we'll go through the answers together. But before you do that, let's just take a look at this part here. Look at what you know and think very carefully about what you will do when you get to that part. Okay, pause the video and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, let's go through the answers together. 5 units take away 4 units is 1. 8 tens take away 2 tens is 6. Now for the hundreds. 100 take away 200, we can't do that. So we're going to exchange 1,000 from here to leave 5,000. Exchange 1,000 for 1,000, which is the same as 1,000. So that will be 1,100 in that column there, or 1,100. 1,100 take away 200 is 900. So for the thousands now, 5,000 take away 5,000, we will be left with nothing. And 70,000 take away nothing is still 70,000. So the answer is 70,961. Well done if you got it right. If you made a mistake, never mind, just make sure you learn from it. Okay, final problem. Here is a problem that somebody has tried to solve, but there is a mistake. Can you work out where they have gone wrong? Pause the video and then we'll go through it together. Okay, let's go through it step by step. Let's start with the units first. 1 unit take away 1 unit is 0, so that's correct. Let's look at the tens now. The original problem was 0 tens take away 2 tens. So the person solving this recognised they couldn't do that, and they have exchanged 100 from the hundreds column and brought it into the tens column to make that 10 tens take away 2 tens, which is 8 tens. So that section is correct, but can you see where they've gone wrong here? What did they forget to do? When they exchanged 100 for 10 tens, they forgot to record that here, so that now becomes 600, because one of the hundreds came over here to make the 10 tens. 600 take away 600 should actually be 0 here. Looking at the thousands, 8,000 take away 7,000 is 1,000, so that's correct. And 2 tens of thousands, so 20,000 take away nothing is still 20,000. So the answer should be 21,080. Well done if you spotted the mistake, and thank you for joining me.